Oscar Blitzers, we're going to bring you specifications you can relate to so you can have an educated decision on your purchases. We're going to be trying this again for a live stream, so hopefully all the technology works. Hopefully everything is functioning properly. I'm going to set up my phone so we will be able to hopefully see some comments, and we'll see if anybody is able to come on to the live stream to have a discussion, any general questions and answers, so we can kind of get going with things as well. Because the last one, I messed up the intro, and then I didn't have anybody watching. So we'll have somebody check this out. We'll see if anybody's coming on. We got one person on, it looks like, but we'll see if anybody else joins so we can have a discussion. Any general questions that you folks have about the channel, myself, anything else going on. Also, you can leave it in the comments down below. Once this video is already live and done with, then you can go and just do that. And then I can just reply to you there as well. So that's going to be another way to do it. So I am on my phone. I have my volume down, so hopefully I'll be able to see any comments there. So leave comments there if you would like, and then I will try and keep up as we get going. But the main thing that I was wanting to talk about for this is just assisted knives in general, because it seems like that's where a lot of people get into the market on. It does have a good place, but I feel it kind of takes away from knives in general. So that's kind of spoiler alert, but that's where I feel as far as a lot of the assisted knives, they kind of take away from the knife as far as the enjoyment for me. So I enjoyed them when I first got into things, but I mean that's kind of the same thing even with automatics. It it doesn't have the same type of enjoyment as far as being able to open and close it freely. They have just a little bit where you have to actually basically load the spring. So that's kind of something that I don't really care for. So I ordered this knife in the middle. I didn't know that it was assisted. I just liked the way it looked. So that's the Kershaw payout. So I just liked the way it looked. So I picked it up. I saw it on their Instagram. I was like, that's a really cool knife. I ordered it. And then after I ordered it, it was like, oh, it's speed safe. Okay. So it does have the opening. So it does have, I mean, that's the good thing about it. The speed safe knives, there's not a lot of practice to it. There's not any technique to it. You just press the lever and then there it goes. But then the thing that gets me as far as any of the assisted knives is basically reloading the spring. So that's where it takes away from it because basically it goes to that 90-degree angle. Then you have to close it down, reload the spring to get it closed. So in the use, that's where it kind of takes away from what I like as far as a knife goes. So this is actually one that also got provided by Randy on YouTube. So very much thank you for providing this one because I have not been able to check out a knockout before, and that's where I'm able to do that. So also anybody joining on, comments. Anybody watching this later, comments as well, and then I'll get back to you. So if you have any questions on the topic itself or questions for me, then you can ask it at this time, and I will answer it the best of my ability for most things. So that's where I have for these. So for the system knife, so it's not just I have a lot of different Kershaws, but other brands have, of course, their own assisted. There's a CRKT one, so this is very snappy. Probably one of the snappier assisted knives that I have. It's just a different way of doing it. So this one has more of that leaf spring in the back that actuates the knife, almost like a flipper tab in a sense. And then you do have the speed safe styles, which are these. So this is still one of my kind of my favorite ones as far as an assisted knife. This is the Kershaw. So this is the one I had the custom inlays done. It's just a lot. Uh, it seems everything kind of works together. Now, the only thing that doesn't work together is it has a pretty decent recurve. I'm not really a fan of that. Maybe eventually I'll take it out. It still does its job, but that's where this knife is just enjoyable because you can drop it down and then you don't have to worry about it unless your spring goes out. Maybe you might get cut at that point, and then you can close it down, and it's not intrusive enough to where it's actually an issue. So it closes down nicely, opens up nicely, and with the insert, uh, you can actually use the whole clip for it. Because prior, if anybody has a blur, prior with the inserts, you're not able to actually use the whole clip because it actually does not go in that far. So your first one is a cryo. like this since. So for yourself, Jeff, you went away from assisted knives is my take on that. Let me know in the comments if that's correct. But that's where a lot of them that come up, uh, people get into it just for because if I watch somebody that I give a flipper knife to, a lot of times they struggle with getting the mechanism down on it. So even this one, I mean, this is a small little flipper knife, but the fraction itself, I mean, you can give it to somebody and they will do that with it, and then they'll kind of struggle, especially even on the closing side. So if somebody hasn't handled a knife very much, when you give it to them, then normally, bad example on this one because it actually doesn't fail very often. But if you'd have, let's try this JRB. So many times people will do that. So they'll be like, oh, and then they'll try again, and then they'll try again, and then you're just watching them, and you're like, come on, you can do it. Like, just flip it a little bit, just like down, down. It's like, yeah. So I mean, that's where some people just don't get into the basics of how it works, and the enjoyment of the knife, I feel, comes from being able to just open and close it, especially in using it. So taking it out of your pocket, opening it, and then having to close it, reload the spring, close it down. I would rather just close it down. And then also with being able to experience more of the OTF style, really that is very intuitive and very useful for work if you're able to use it for work. Because I don't have any, but I was able to experience one. But you just pop it open, cut whatever you're doing, close it down, put it back in your pocket. There's less things going on. You don't have to go and close it down. So even with the bug out, you still have to close it down with it. Then the OTF, you go tick out, tick closed, put it away. So those are the things that I just don't. I don't know. This one has some great things for it. So in not being able to experience the knockout before, it is a very good knife. It does things very well. For me, it shouldn't have a. If I owned one, I'd probably knock off the flipper tab. I like flipper tabs. My own knife that I'm making has a flipper tab for it, but I don't feel this one works very well. So that's where it just takes away again from the knife as far as how it operates. It just doesn't work very well, and that's kind of my opinion on that. Yeah, I would agree with that as far as it taken away. But this one, so the thing is going for the knockout. So the actual release is done very lightly. So there's not a really heavy lock bar. And then it still comes down to 90 degree. So this is also speed safe. And this comes down to 90 degree as well. So you're having it, the spring actuated about the same place, but then this one has a little bit lighter spring than this one does. So this one's quite a bit heavier. So actually you get a measurement on that. I use the Lyman pull gauge. I know everything's backwards, but this is why I use weights more than opinion. I still do my opinion at the end of videos, but that's where I try and do the actual weight of things so you can actually have that information instead of me telling you it's like a 4 or 7. So that's 1 pound, 1.1 ounces to close that. And then we'll see where this one is for that spring. We'll try to get to about the same place, so I apologize if it's not exactly accurate. So that's 1 pound, 10 ounces. So you have about 9 more, 0.9 more. What's up, mild mannered? How's it going? So you have about 9 ounces more with the knockout than the blur. So that's where it's noticeable. So if you actually picked up a blur and actually close it down, I feel that's a good level needed to reload that spring. But this one is a trade-off. So it's really what you want. This one just has a little bit more as far as being able to close it down. It's not horrible, but when you pick up something that is 9 ounces less in putting it down, it's a difference. So do you gain a lot more from the flip? Maybe a little bit. So that's that thumb stud deployment. That's that one. So you gain a little bit of speed for it, but I don't know. So this one, the reason why I would say to remove the flipper tab. So on this knife, it's not broken in. I haven't used it. I haven't taken it out of the house. So for Randy, who provided this knife to the channel to check out, I haven't even used the knife, but I have opened it and closed it. But so in doing the closure, um, so once this breaks in, it'll hit your finger, which is that interference. It kind of does a little pinch to it, and then after that, then you have to move your finger out of the way and then close it down. This one's going to be open, middle, close, but less. So this is where this is still, I think, my shining star as far as a speed safe knife. It's done well. I think if they just went and revisited this, and this is might be just that revisited thing, but more modern, what people are looking for in a knife, I just feel that it shouldn't have a flipper tab. If that was off of there, this is a better thumb stud. I like it better than the angled thumb stud. This one works, I guess, for this model, but as far as aesthetics, the way it looks, the way it feels, I like this thumb stud better than this thumb stud. I like that this doesn't have a flipper tab. This one does have a flipper tab. So there's a lot of different things with that. But again, going back to just assisted in general, it works well for if you're actually starting out. It works well for somebody to get into the hobby. So if an assisted knife is the reason why somebody likes a knife and actually carries a knife, then great. And if that's the only thing that they get, so I've experienced even some of the ZTs that are assisted knives. They don't add a lot more. It's not something that I go, okay, well, this is a Kershaw, and then this is a lot lower than a ZT in assisted. It's really not. It's about the same. It's like you're getting better materials, titanium, whatever else, but it's not something that is a night and day difference. Apologize, I'm going to drink some coffee. But it's not something that I would say don't buy this. You need to buy a Kershaw because you have to experience the speed safe in a ZT. This is good, and this is probably really great. It just could be a little bit better. So that's where going to just regular actions. Even this one, there's a CJRB. There's like $50. Opens, thumb, closes. There's no reloading of a spring. There's no type of action that you have to worry about. You don't need to use your wrist to do anything with it. Opens. Opens harder. So that's where it says like, oh, that's where assisted knives, automatic knives has that little wow factor, which is like whack. It's open. It's open. About the same speed. Not as hard on this one. A little harder on this one. But where it differs, so this one, so you get your thumb, then you close it. And okay, now you can't do this one. So now you have to go over to it and close it down. So that's, again, my opinion on it. But going back to the thing, I mean, if you're going to carry an assisted knife, if you're going to start there, nothing's wrong with that. And that's another point on it. If you never upgrade your knives, if you never change your knives, fantastic. Don't change your knife, because the next time you go to something that is better or you find better, it doesn't have to even be a price point. So if you find something that you like better, then now the one that you used to love then becomes something you don't like much or you like less. So that's where it's a rabbit hole type of thing. If you don't go further and you enjoy what you have, don't feel like you're missing out on something, because you don't know what you don't have until you get something better. As weird as that sounds. So that's where it's kind of going off of those things. But well, then get another cryo, especially if you liked it and it was kind of where you started from. Yeah, it would be good. I mean, just check it out, and even if your opinion changed on it a lot, then you can come back to it and just keep it. I mean, just have it where it's around and it's something that you can pick up again. Like like have a reminisce about the time when that was a really great knife for you. Cryo's good. I mean, it's something that is not a bad knife, but it just opinions change. If you had a same type of hamburger your whole life, and you're like, okay, well, that's the best hamburger I've had. I go back to there and have it, and then you go and find a better hamburger place than the place that your memory and everything served you as far as being something that's really good. Now it's not so good because you tried something better, something that you preferred better. That's the hard part about it. The very difficult part about this hobby in general, because I started like this is one of the knives that I really liked. The Fraction, this a knife that people at work were afraid of, which is outrageous. Like it's a small knife. It's it's tiny. I mean, it's like okay, it's a knife. That's why it's hard to get past that with folks. I've heard on other channels and everything else, like if somebody carried a knife long enough, they're going to find that they use it. It's a tool. It's not there to go out and commit robberies and like do bad things or anything like that. It's a tool. I love mechanisms. I love craftsmanship. Those are the types of things I enjoy. This is one I don't carry this very much anymore, and that's the hard part about things because I really like this one. It has kind of a memory to it as far as like a time past when I actually really liked my Kershaw Fraction. Yeah, I mean, there's something for everybody. There's something for everybody. There's someone out there is carrying a mermaid that thinks that's the best knife that they've ever seen. Nothing will ever beat it. It's the best overall thing that they have. What's up, Peter? How's it going? Hopefully everything's going well. But that's where it's the hobby is good and bad at the same time, because I enjoy these type of interactions. Even though I'm not talking to you in an actual conversation where you're not talking back to me, you're talking to me. You're in the comments. We're having interactions. I'm not talking to myself. Like, and that's where sometimes the reviews get a little bit kind of weird because I'm talking to myself and then I'm putting the information out there and then eventually like people comment and people talk, people say things on it, and I can get back to you. This is more interactive. I enjoy live streaming by far more than the review side because there's something about it where I almost need to have, like in your fragrance stores where you have I don't go to fragrance stores much, but I've been to them. You've probably been to a perfume store or a cologne store. They always have like a jar of coffee beans. And what's the use of that coffee bean? Like, is it just for aesthetics to sit on the counter and just be there? No, it's to reset your palate. It's to give you a fresh take on the next thing that you're looking at. So that's where maybe you guys have opinions on this, but I probably need to have a a can of coffee beans in a sense, as far as like, okay, this is $50, and this is what I really like for that. Just outdated myself. They're still around. They're still around. Are you talking about the fragrance stores? They're still there. There's one at the local shopping area. They exist. People still go to physical stores. It's not all about Amazon. but so those are things I think I need to have that fragrance reset of like, and it'll change out eventually. So you'll be like, okay, this is my $50 standard as far as like the best one that I found so far. So when I'm actually picking up I'm not going to be comparing that knife to a $250 knife, but if this $50 knife is better than that $250 knife, then we kind of have an issue there. It's kind of a conundrum because why would I pay a set amount of money when my $50 baseline one is better, in my opinion? So that's where it's hard also, because I got to figure out as far as what you guys like, because that's where now for my channel and what I do, I try and give a lot of specs. I try to give a lot of data, so then you can make your own decision, and then I throw my basically topics and information at the end of it. Because I tried to switch it up. I tried to get some feedback on it because I put my opinion first and then followed it up with comments. I mean, for the descriptions and the specs. I got opinions that they'd rather have that at the end, but also looking at analytics. Most people like tap out at like 3 minutes. So even if I make a 7 minute video, the majority of folks tap out at 3. So then that's where it's kind of like, okay, what do you want to watch? But that's where it's kind of interesting. So the new addition to the channel, if you haven't watched some of the other ones, is quarters. So quarters is my weight now. So if I tell you that something is 1.8 ounces, then that's going to be basically 9 quarters. So each quarter is about 2.2 ounces. So it's not 2 ounces, so it's 0.2 ounces. So that's about 9 quarters. So if I have an oddity, then I'll throw in a penny. So that's where I have quarters and pennies. So that's where people at home can pick up a roll of quarters and some pennies, or at least one penny, and then you can pick it up and feel how it is. Because it's hard to know. Like if you tell somebody it's 3 ounces, it's like some people have a really good innate ability to go 3 ounces. Yes, I know exactly how that feels, and I know what that is, and that's great. Others like give me 3 ounces. So that's what I'm doing with that. So quarters is where that is. So if you want to like join along with that, that's kind of the thing to have with you as you go along with the journey, because those quarters will then I'll say there's 9 quarters. Take your 9 quarters, put it in your hand, and go. That's how that feels. And that's the thought on that. Let me know as far as what you think on that in the comments as well. And then Peter said something. Yeah, it does. So for people on the YouTube side, there's analytics, and you can go crazy looking at analytics. Um, and I know that's not important to the viewer side, especially the people that actually watch and watch to the end. They're like, why do people tap out at 2-3 minutes, or why do people leave at this amount of time? Peter, you might have a longer like watch time than I do, but it's like how much weight do you want to have in that? And that's where it's you can get lost in it because you're like, okay, well they tapped out at 3 minutes on every one of my last few videos. What did I do at that 3 minute mark? Then I go, okay, well, at that 3 minute mark, I did this. So, well, let's try and move this around. So I cover this at the 3 minute mark, and then see if my watch time goes up at all for the video. It's just like you get like wrapped up in these things, and it's just like so difficult to know what to do and how it goes. Good evening, John. How's it going? So that's where it's difficult for that. And also with people joining in, we'll go back to things, but we're kind of going down different rabbit holes and everything else. So if you have questions on things on the table, if you have questions for me, let me know in the comments as well. But we're talking about also for assisted knives and why it's good, why it's bad, in my opinion. But also we have a new setup. So I'm trying to get rid of these shadows because I can see the shadows. If nobody during this whole time period of watching it said to themselves, darn, that's a lot of shadows on the table. That's what I look at. I don't know if that's what you look at, but I'm just like, how do I get rid of these shadows? Because I'm recording at night and my family's asleep, and this is when I normally record videos. So I don't have natural daylight. I don't have the ability um, to do those type of things. But I'm recording with a webcam that you're watching on now, and also I'm using lamps, floor lamps. So that's what's up there, floor lamps. It seemed to work all right. I moved from to a different area, but what's up? How's it going? So just going back to topics things. So that's why I don't necessarily buy assisted knives, is because of those. It takes away from the action, and that's why my knife that I'm working on is a button lock, because I feel that that's a good mix of things. It's intuitive, it's a button, so when you actually go and open it and you want to close it, How many times have you given somebody a knife and then you watch them struggle with how to close it? Especially with times when you give it to them and then they try to close it for a little bit and they give it back to you. It's just like, I don't know how to do this. Like, here you go, and that kind of ruins it for people. That's why it's hard, because as much as you try to get people into hobbies, it's hard to do. And then when I talk to somebody that's into knives, then I'm like, oh, cool, you're into knives. What type of knives do you have? And I try not to judge. I really, really try not to judge. But some people really pull out some horrible knives. And that's the thing about, if that's great to you, fantastic. You're into knives. You like it. That's the thing you carry. You have it with you. It's not in a drawer. It's not in your car. It's on your person. That is great. That is great. That is great. And that's what I keep on telling myself, even though when they pull out a knife that's a Smith & Wesson and I don't like it. That is great. I just don't like your knife. But, like, cool. That's the hard part about it. There are only a few. So check out the ProTech. So the ProTech Mordax. I have a Mordax around here. So ProTech Mordax. So under $200, flipper, no thumb stud, button lock, manual. Anyone know of a budget flipper button lock? No, I don't. Let me know. The Vector is good. It's a thumb stud, not a button lock though. Very good price. I have another one. I have one of those. I have two of those somewhere. I have a blue one and a black one, but very slippery too. The scale is pretty slippery for a Vector. I don't even know what happened. Does anybody know what happened to Tangram? Like that was, they were the Civivi before Civivi. They were the CRJB before CRJB. Tangram was Kaiser's budget, and I don't know what happened. Like why they got off the gas on that one. I don't understand. Like, they were ahead of everything. Oh yeah, wait. There is very inexpensive ones. So as bad as everybody thinks about them, the M-Tech knives, M-Tech button locks are fantastic. They're like, I think I bought mine for like $8, and they're good. They're really good. Like, if you haven't checked out an M-Tech button lock, some of them are like, I bought 5 of them, and then I think 2 of the 5 had a little bit of play in it, but the others are good. For a button lock, that's not bad. But still, if you can buy American, do that. There's a big discussion on that. This is an American company, lifetime warranty, ProTech, but that's what you have with that. But anybody know of a button lock flipper budget knife? If not, then that's where my knife is going to step in, because that's my plan. But it sort of depends on what you think is budget too. So let me know as far as what you think about that. Yeah, it's a bad move with all that. Tangram, the Vector, Tangram in general. I mean, they were ahead of everything. They set things in motion, really. I'll try to find my Vector. Yep. I use these knife rolls. Anybody else have knife rolls? I have knife rolls. I don't know what that stain is. I have knife rolls. I have 4 of them. I have 4 knife rolls. Then I have a stack of knives. It's a bad hobby. It is, but it's good. But it's bad at the same time. Nope, it's not there either. I haven't really got into the whole hard cases. I don't understand it too much. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't really work for me. And of course, it's going to be in the last case I look at. Oh, yep. So it's in the last case. Let's see what I missed here. So this Tangram Vector is aluminum. It has great lockup. It has 440 Akudo, which is basically 440. I think I bought this one for like $20. They had sales like that happen every now and then. But autos are the same thing. So going back to the original conversation, out the side automatics, they take away from it because you have to reload the spring all the time. It's just like this. So legally, so when the Kershaw came out, well, when Canyon came up with the speed safe, legally it's not an automatic, but really it's an automatic. I mean, come on. Like, so if you had, let's say this is an automatic. So if I press the button and the knife flies out, is that really much different than pressing this button and it flying out? I don't think so. It just somebody messed up on the law and then somebody came out with something that said, yeah, that's okay. And then then you have a flipper auto. That's pretty quick. That's pretty quick too. So it's an automatic. I mean, it's a spring. Yes, it's not activated by a button, but it's almost easier to do than a button because you just go, oh, it's an automatic knife. Let me know if you agree with that or not. No, but I don't know. It just seems like that it's the same thing. It's roughly the same thing. So that's where OTFs really do have a place. I think eventually I'll get an OTF because it works. You click it up, blade extends, click it down, blade retracts, put it away. It works well. But that's where assisted knives in general, it just takes away from the experience of the knife in general. That's where open, close, close. Nope. Ah. Oh wait, sorry. I'm not trying to hurt your knife, Randy. But it doesn't. You have to close it. You have to close it. There's other ways to do it. You could like close it and like push it on your leg and like close it or whatever else. But assisted knives offer a wow factor when it pops open because it's an automatic. It's like, oh yeah. That's the whole thing about it, assisted. So that's one thing that's nice. It's good when you get into hobbies, but it still takes away from the enjoyment because I fidget with knives. Some people don't. Oh, has anybody checked out the channel Farmer E? If not, check out his channel because he's better than me. He does great things. He has a really good sense of humor. Very good also at cinematic stuff. I found him recently. He has like a lot of views. Not a lot of subscribers, a lot of views. But yeah, gravity law changed, so I guess so now you can have. I guess what would be considered a gravity knife? Like, is this considered a gravity knife? Like, what would be the gravity knife? Would that be just a ballast song? I haven't seen that one. So the Invictus, is that also an automatic? I have to go look at that video. Protec's a good company. I mean, they are. They have some nice knives. Even this new slim foot that came out, I think it's a good price. I mean, it's a little bit higher for like the materials aren't the best on it, but for an automatic knife for about 180, I think that's a pretty good price. But this is more enjoyable. Like, it's not assisted. Oh, this is what I like about it. So out of these things, I mean, if you guys have any questions for me, let me know. Because it seems like I talk about the knives, talk about other things, but we don't really talk about like other things. So if you guys have other questions, we can go down rabbit holes and different things about talking about different stuff. I want to get a Tesla eventually, but I also might want to get a Mustang Mach-E. I'm not going to because it's too darn expensive, and I don't have that type of money right now, wherever at the point. But it's really nice. If you haven't seen a Mustang Mach-E, it is very nice. So what did we have? Triple E. Shake open, past the detent. But that's where I disagree. So I'm going to say another thing. So gravity is about the same. I mean, I guess if you go to different heights and everything else, gravity changes. But if you shake something, is that gravity, or are you multiplying gravity by shaking the darn thing? And that's kind of my thing. That's why I call it inertia. So that's where I refer to it. Because a gravity knife, wouldn't that just be actuated or moved by gravity? So that's where if you, let's see if this one does it. Nope, that one does not. Let's see if, I don't have any on the table that does that. This one? No, it kind of does. No, that's not a good example either. Which one would do it? Nope. I think this one does it. I'm pretty sure this will do it. Yes, with enough G-force or stopping something, things open. But also with enough engineering, it doesn't. Like I found some knives that they don't have a lot of restriction. It doesn't have a lot of detent strength, but you cannot shake it open. Like due to the mentality of gravity knife, they work to make it not happen. Like somehow with the lobe or how it's set up. Yes, but that's why I mean, if it's a gravity knife for me, this is me. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, let me know. But if it's a gravity knife, this should be open right now. That's gravity. Uh, yeah, that's a gravity knife. If I shake the darn thing, that's not a gravity knife. That's not. But this is gravity. So is this a gravity knife? Because it closes under gravity, but doesn't open under gravity. But I guess if I do the lock, then it opens under gravity. So that's where I don't know. Like that's where my own mentality of what a gravity knife is. I don't know if it's the guy. I don't know if people agree with it or not. Give you a loose detent or give you death. So I guess I find about 2 to 3 pounds. Again, I go back to weight because that's something that doesn't change necessarily. I like that kind of range. Even for if it's strictly a thumb stud knife, I like it about 2 pounds or less because I like to also middle finger flick the things. That's where it helps with that. But I think even the Canada one has gravity knives, and then to test that, you shake it like this I can understand. Like if it fails this test, you got a problem. If it fails that test, that's on purpose. Like that is not a gravity knife. I have yet to handle Hinder knives. Like, I know they're around. I know people love them. I just don't have them. I'm still, even though I've been able to handle a lot of fairly expensive knives, thank you to Apex Pattern Group and all the people that are involved in that. But it's I still have a hard time buying expensive knives. I have a lot of knives. I've probably spent enough to buy an expensive knife. But that's also the bad stuff about doing reviews. Because sometimes you buy knives, at least I do, for content. I don't really want them. I don't really need them, but it's new and people want to check it out. I want to check it out, but I don't want to buy them, but I do sometimes. So I'm not going to buy, I'll probably buy that before I buy like a new Hinder just to check it out. I don't have the big budget to be able to just buy a Hinder and then like go, oh, I don't like it and sell it off. And that's the thing. It's hard to sell things. It is hard. Like I have things I need to sell, and eventually I will sell them. But it's kind of a pain. It's easier to buy than to sell. It's like you hunt around, you find something cool, you press buy, it comes to your door, and you go, ha ha, because there's no good knife stores in Oregon. Again, if you find some, let me know. But there isn't. Um, one thing I found for this knife too, and one thing I haven't really looked at very often, but I do now since I cut myself. Um, a lot of times when you hold a knife and you close it, if you put your finger on top of the pocket clip, normally you have enough clearance where you can't guillotine. Might be the way you pronounce that, but you're not going to get your finger. This one you got to be careful because I was fidgeting in the car and I was opening and closing it, and then had my finger like this when I was closing it, and I chopped the tip of this finger, and tips of the fingers grow back. It wasn't a bad cut. It stuck, and it was like halfway down, but it grew back. Has a little bit of I can see a little bit of where it was, but fingertips grow back. Yeah, and that's another thing about carry. With the whole tactical thing, it seemed that that's where the tip up carry came about. And so somebody can enlighten me on that. But from my understanding, the tip up came from speed of deployment in which you're going to defend yourself with a pocket knife. I don't know if you ever seen the video of the soldiers saying that they're going to show you how to defend yourself in a knife fight. And he said, okay, now I'm going to show you, go full speed. And then it cuts over to the guy, and it cuts back to the person that was going to defend themselves. And then that guy is like running. Like he's not even in the picture anymore. He's like running. I think that's a good way to work with a knife fight. You're always going to get cut in a knife fight. There's not a movie thing where you're going to be like like hitting blades together and you're going to be like playing with little knives and like hitting each other like ting 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 ting. It's not going to work that way. You're going to get cut. Even if you're really good, you're going to get cut. So excuse me. But that's where so tip up is very important as far as which pocket you put it into. And that's why we refer to it as right hand tip up, left hand tip up, or tip down. There's also right hand tip down, left hand tip down, but really tip down, you could go either pocket, back pocket, hip, belt, anywhere. It's probably the most versatile is tip down. That's where I carry this tip down because tip up, it's it's like this high out of the pocket. It's really bad. Like they probably don't change it because they sell a lot of them, but that's really bad. But I guess going back to things. if by use, the more you have sticking out of your pocket, the easier it is to get out of your pocket, and is actually better. So if you had this much sticking out of your pocket, would you say that that's good or bad? Most people would say that's bad, because the current state of affairs is you have to have a deep carry pocket clip. Is that for your benefit, or is that for everybody else's benefit to try and hide that you have a pocket knife? I would say the latter, because if this is how much sticking out of your pocket, that's how much you're going to be able to grab to take it out of your pocket. So if this was a fully deep carry pocket clip, to grab this is a little bit more difficult, not as intuitive to take out of your pocket. This is all that would show for deep carry pocket clip. But I don't know. I mean, that's why, let me know as far as what you guys think on that, because I think deep carry pocket clips, in my opinion, I have a lot of, it's a lot of opinions, but in my opinion, deep carry pocket clips are for the benefit of everybody else. It's not the benefit for you. I don't have many ZTs. Kershaw in general. I mean, this is Kershaw. That's not bad. It's not recessed as far as the screws, but that's their deep carry pocket clip. Their regular pocket clip, that's the ugly one. It's been around a long time, but they should change that. I mean, this is the knockout, and it's a deep carry pocket clip, but it also has these little nubbies right there. Yeah, but line knives, 2 weeks ago you had some time with a police. Did I miss another story to that line knives? Way too long billboarding. Yes. A lot of times they are. That's not too, I think that's fine for that length. This is actually a fairly good pocket clip. Yeah. SOG is kind of turning around with the Terminus XR. I still don't like SOG. I wish them the best, but they just keep on going down that path, and maybe it'll get better. But I don't like SOG. I don't. That's one of the brands I don't like, because it's a brand that I bought when I was first starting out, and then I didn't like them. Then I don't like them now. Eventually, maybe. But this pocket clip is actually very good. So it doesn't have any type of screws in the way of your pocket, because it's all from the inside. So this kind of goes along with the Luna. Luna is still my favorite slip joint, but this has a loop over and no screws in it because it's from the inside. This is fantastic. It's a deep carry pocket clip as well, and that looks like a pen. So again, benefit for other people, but that's how it goes. And then they asked me for the pepper spray. I'm going to have to read that story a little bit. Slip joint should pass. Yeah, slip joint should. I mean, that's not going to open. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. But even slip joints, I mean, like if you're going to open it up, use it, even if you close it one hand. I don't know if that sound comes through. It has a good sound to that one. What are we going there? That's good. Now, what sharpening tool to use? Not line knives. I'm going to be checking out a Edge Pro soon, so I'll see how that goes. Because Edge Pro, like it's interesting in the way that it's set up. KME is kind of like the shining star of everything, but Edge Pro was kind of that gold standard for a while before KME kind of took over. And then they have a new little device to actually work with small pocket knives and odd shapes. So I'm going to see how that little clamp system works, and then kind of go from there. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, freehand sharpening is an art. I mean, it's something that I feel should be learned and kind of passed on, because a lot of the ones with you can still mess things up with a fixtured system, but with the freehand sharpening, it's actually something that is something that you're never probably going to be like perfect on, but you do get really good. And it's just something that's really cool, because it's something that it's part of the past, and it's something that you can continue to pass on. Just like tying a tie, I don't know how to tie a bow tie. Like most people don't wear bow ties. I don't wear a bow tie, but it's something that is something that's lost, a lost art, something that's there, that nobody knows. Like even when I got married, I think I had a bow tie, or I had a tie. But even those bow ties, I mean, you don't tie them. You just go and put them on. You tighten the little strap on it. You don't tie the thing. A lot of things have changed with those things. Yeah, I mean, that's the way it goes. I mean, you got to learn from mistakes. Hopefully, you don't make expensive mistakes. But yeah, I mean, it's a good thing to learn and know, especially if you're going to pass it on, especially if you're going to kind of keep that going. So that's actually a pretty cool thing there. But so it seems like people are on the same page with assisted knives. Like, does anybody like really love assisted knives? And then that's like if you had to choose, you would pick up assisted knife over a bearing knife, over any other type of knife out there, because it seems like it's something that starts in the beginning and then kind of diminishes over time as you go. But I still don't understand as far as like, I guess a button automatic, versus a flipper automatic. It's legally it's not an automatic, but I've experienced some automatics that they're very slow. I mean, it doesn't have that snap that's like, oh, that's like really something that you love about an automatic knife, because that opens probably the same as the automatic knife, except instead of doing this, I'm doing this. Oh, thanks, Triple. I gotta check out your video on that ProTech. Thanks for stopping by. But also, if you guys have anything else, let me know. Also, we're coming up to, well, an hour almost, so we're at 54 minutes. So anybody else that's coming through, you can leave comments down below as well, as far as things that are going on. But I really do enjoy the live streams a lot more. And if you guys have questions about anything else that goes on in the channel, let me know as well. I was really surprised when I had my kids do their own little review, that I got a thumbs down on that. That kind of chafed me a little bit. I mean, that was like, I had fun with them. It was something that was really cool. But like, thumbs down me, don't thumbs down my kid. But that's where they had fun with it. And I actually picked up their catchphrase because two of my sons, when they were looking at a knife, they picked it up, and then when they're done talking about it and everything, they're like, "And that's all. That's about all I have to say about that one today." I picked that up, and I started to use that now in my right before my videos end. So that's kind of the way I do those things. Oh, you have a giveaway going? Cool. So check out Triple E's giveaway. So that's a really cool thing. Yeah, I know. It's how it goes. But yeah, check out his giveaway. I'll have to check out that giveaway as well. Kind of see what else goes on. But there's a lot of knives that I have that I've bought that I haven't reviewed, and I don't know if that's the same for other people, but I do have that. But those are the things that I normally have for my review side. Assist knives, I still say this over and over again. If you love what you carry, don't buy anything else. I mean, or if you're going to buy something else, don't be disappointed when you keep on buying other things. There's always something better. There's always going to be something that's latest and greatest and keeping up with the Joneses or whatever else you're going to call it. All right, and have a good night. Because even for the Rat 2 is one that a lot of people still love, and it's actually still one that even people with a higher end collection still respect the knife. But even this has Teflon gets a bad name, and I think most of these still have a little thin Teflon washer with it that makes it super smooth. They don't advertise that, but it's normally there. But it's a good knife. I still like it. But there's just so many things out there. But I'm going to be working on getting the website up. That's probably where I'm going to sell some of my used knives and some of the reviewed knives and things that I have lying around. I'm working on getting a website put together, and then I'm going to be testing that for logistics purposes on doing a purchase and a shipping and kind of getting all those little things worked out because I still am trying to launch a brand. So I'm going to be doing that. And then so that's anybody buying a knife from the website is going to be my guinea pig because as you buy it, I'll see how the purchase process works and then how to ship it and then trying to get that kind of down to a flow. But that's going to be what I'm going to be doing to try and get that up and running. Now the prototypes are almost done. So I should have that next month. So I should be able to see those, how they work and how they look. And everything else. The new setup's not bad. I kind of like it. This little background's pretty good. But what else do you guys have for questions on it? Because I know I might be a background for some folks as well. But do you guys have any questions, concerns, opinions, suggestions, other things on the channel that you feel would be of a benefit to you? Because that's where I enjoy it still. I enjoy this as well, but that's where I just want to be able to talk to folks, be able to have that conversation. The whole reason why I started this whole thing was I was leaving really long comments on the Knife Beater channel, and then he said, "Well, why don't you start your own channel?" And I did. And then here, I think I started March 2018 is when I started the channel, and then kind of going from there, trying to figure things out as I go as well. But those are all those things. Tiny knife. I'll probably be selling this one too. Oh, appreciate that. Yeah, I decided to try and use that. I tried to figure out different ways to get this going. This is my sharpness tester. So this is what I built. So instead of like the I forgot the other names. The other ones that use the best media. I built this one to try and figure out how to do the same thing with the Lyman pull gauge. So that's where this works out really well because it has a memory of the breaking point. So that's where I came across this unit, and then that's kind of where that's the point where I actually give to folks. So how this works is basically the blade will go in here, and then I have the little best media, and then so that goes over, sits on the blade, and then I take the pull gauge, and then I do the pull, and I see when it breaks, and that's how I set it up. So I try to take away some of the. It's not perfect, but I try and take away some of the factors because when you're pushing down on it, you might have a different angle to it. You might be pulling it while you're cutting it. So this is where it's just a single straight down. It might have a little bit of wobble because these bearings aren't perfect, but that's what I use. And I use the pull gauge, and then I would go and set it in millimeters, or not millimeters, but what did I do? Grams. And then so what I would do in grams, I would pull, and pick. And then it would go, okay, 160. Then that's how I would actually pick that up. So that's my little device that I made. This is one of the Lansky ones with little rubber inserts, so I don't scratch the blades. And then also I have it adjustable. So if I have a taller blade, then I can raise and lower this with this little channel. Yeah, it's just something I worked up. I've been using that for a while. You can go back on some old videos and see what I started with. I even tried to use a dental floss, and I tried to use those little dental floss sticks, and then I ended up coming with that. And then I still use the best media, so that's something that's out there. I can purchase those and actually have it available to actually use. But that's kind of all I have for those. But anybody have any other questions, concerns, input? How is everybody doing? I know it's still an interesting time with everything. Most people won't. Most people probably won't be around for this point, but we got 12 people on. It's kind of an interesting time too, because with the virus scares and everything else, it's an interesting time even for hospitals because on Monday my father had quadruple bypass surgery, and you can't visit anybody. It's kind of a weird thing. So that's kind of a thing that happens. He's recovering now. Hopefully should be back home this weekend. But life is kind of a strange time sometimes. But if you're still watching, you can go and utilize the words. It kind of died down a little bit, so I appreciate that. Yeah, it's scary times with things. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to explain unless you've gone through things, have friends go through things. It just kind of hits you differently. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll just see how everything plays out. But look out for the things that are coming from the channel. I will have the knife come through. I ordered 4 prototypes, so that'll be starting working on a lot of things. So if anybody design side is not easy, but if you're designing something and you're giving it off to somebody, then that's a little bit easier. All right, you take care. Yeah, I'm going to be heading out as well here in a moment. If anybody doesn't have anything else, thank you very much for staying around. But interesting time with everything. But appreciate everybody for being around. It's been a journey. It's been something that's interesting. We got possibly Blade Show coming up in August if they don't cancel that as well. Blade Show West, I think, is still going to be going on. That should be like October, November time period. It's really surprising how many people don't know about Blade Show as well if you talk to people out in the public. But let me know, I guess, if there's anything else going on. Let me know what's going on in your things. People leaving things in the comments. If you have any questions or anything else, leave that in the comments as well, and I'll respond to you there. I usually I try to respond to just about everybody that puts something in the comments as it goes. But I'll have a video up later as well. So once the prototypes come in, then I'll give you folks kind of a rundown of everything that's happened since my original sketch back in June 2019, as far as where that journey started. And then we'll kind of go from there. But if nothing else, then we'll kind of end things off. We might want to do giveaways too. I like how JB does that. So I think I might do that at some point as well, or randomly through videos. So not for people that are watching, but it's been interesting. But that's my opinion. Going back to assisted knives, it's good. It takes away from the enjoyment of a knife for me, and it should never, never be on an axis lock. That makes it even worse, because an axis lock is something that should be able to be closed normally. Because to open it and then put on an axis lock, then have to reload the spring, I don't like it. But that's about all for those. So appreciate the time. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any other questions, comments, concerns, input, and let me know. That's about all I have to say about these today. Have a good night.